Good, stand by. What I love about coaching, here, there's a lot of things I could say, but, we have a storied tradition, here at Clemson.
There you go. Come on.
The reason why Clemson is who it is the consistency, the philosophy, the culture.
Now it's time to go to work.
Football is a contact sport, and we need to be physical on the back end. And that starts by getting your mind right, because it's not natural to go run into somebody.
Love the game of football. Haven't been playing it all my life. For me, I thought I was a basketball player, and my high school coach, told me that, he could find colleges could find somebody down the street at 6'3" that could do what I do at 5'9". So I was like, well, let's try this game of football. And the athleticism that I was blessed with allowed me to be a very good player. And so it transitioned into, after the NFL, became a school teacher. Wasn't fulfilled in the classroom because everything was about academics and standardized testing, and it wasn't a reflection of really were they learning the material or they were just memorizing. And coaching football allowed me to have that same burn, desire, and compassion and competitiveness that I had once as a player. So it was just, I'm like, wow. I can do much more with using the game of football to educate these young men.
All right, because what he's going to do, he's going to hold you, right, and you ain't going to be able to get free. That's the type of position I want you on. So now, all right, I can ricochet.
Didn't know Coach Winnie. Met him in passing. We recruited the same area when I was at NC State, so we'd always overlap. I'd see him on the recruiting trail. I was cordial, spoke and things of that nature. And I guess the way I handled myself in those situations allowed me the opportunity here. And then there was the former DB coach, Charlie Harbison. I knew him well, and so with that combination right there, I think that was what allowed me the opportunity to come to Clemson.
There you go, through that, come on, let's go, wake it up. Good.
For me, as a player, and then transitioning out of the NFL, there was an itch there, that I felt like I had to scratch, and I was in business for about a year and a half. And Coach Sweeney called me, and actually Coach Scott did as well. And they said, hey, listen, what are you doing? You need to be, I think you'd be a good coach. And so was married and had one child at the time, and said, you know what, if we wait any longer, this is not going to happen. So let's go ahead and dive headfirst into this thing. And again, became a GA and analyst and then now position coach. But, one thing that I knew I needed to use, I had just so much knowledge about the game and about the position of wide receiver that wasn't really being used. I tried using it in JV football. It was my first thing I did. I was working in Atlanta, and I said, you know what, let me just try this thing out. And so I took a job at Wesleyan as a JV coach and had a blast. I was coaching DBs and receivers. I was like, man, this is a lot of fun, and I have the knowledge and expertise that I wanted to share, and so it was natural. It was a natural transition from player, to coach, and I'm not that old, so I feel like can still relate to the guys and kind of give, my players real life examples of what I've gone through. I've been to where they want to go, and so and they know that, and so I think I'm able to communicate with them, and they know it's coming from experience, not just knowledge that's been acquired over the years. I've gone through it myself, and so that's something that I think that helps me with my guys, is that relatability, that trust, that respect.
I was battling, well, maybe I want to be a pastor or maybe I want to be a coach, so I was battling with that. So I called Coach Stallings at Alabama and I asked if I could come talk to him. So I got up early one morning, met with him, and I just told him, said, Coach, I feel like God's calling me into coaching, and I was wondering if you had anything on your staff, if I could come in as a grad assistant. And he said, well, how'd you do in the weight room? And I said, well, I think I did pretty good down there, Coach. He said, well, let me see. So he gets on the phone and he calls our strength coach. So I'm sitting there in the office. He said, how'd Mickey Kahn work for you down there in the weight room? And he said, oh, he did a great job, blah, blah, blah. And I hung up the phone. He said, well, Coach Carruthers says you did a good job for him. So tell you what, I'm going to give you an opportunity down there in the weight room. I said, well, thank you, Coach. And so went down to the weight room and did that for 2 years. But I really wanted to be on the field. So during that time, there was a transition. So Alabama had changed. Coach Stallings had left, and they brought in a new coach. And I went in to interview with the new coach, and he didn't even give me the time of day. So I decided, well, I'm just going to go. I'm going to just go become a high school coach. I want to coach. I want to impact the lives of young people. I ended up going back to high school. I went, I interviewed, I did good in the interview, and the guy hired me. So I was told if you take that job, you'll probably go 0-30. And we ended up being one of the best programs in the country.
That's it. That's the way to work. That's the way to work. Quick out of that transition. Let's go explode 12. Let's go.
The way it went down, he came in to the school. They were recruiting some of my kids, and so I, like everybody, you want your picture with your kids with Coach Sweeney. So he's coming. So we checked the kids out of school to be there, to take pictures with him. And so the kids were talking to Coach Sweeney about going skiing, and we were going to Breckenridge, and he was going to Beaver Creek. He said, well, why don't we take a day and we'll meet up? So we met up, went skiing with him for a day. Came home, I didn't really think anything of it. And then I guess he was sizing me up, I don't know, see if I was worthy. But anyway, so he called back and offered me a job. And I was like, what am I going to be coaching, And he said, well, you're going to be an analyst. I said, ooh, an analyst. I said, Coach, I'm a coach. I don't know if I can do an analyst. He said, it won't be long, in Coach Sweeney fashion. I won't be long. He'll move up quick. He sold it pretty good, and it worked out. And then so here I am. So
what you see very evident in camp is, especially in the spring and in the workouts, or you see a lot of guys who are competitive, athletic, guys that have no fear, but also on the same token, guys that want to learn, that want to be coached, that want to be held accountable. And and like I say, one of the greatest forms of love is discipline. And you see guys that want to be disciplined as far as coaching. They want to be corrected. They want to be held to a standard. They want that accountability. And that's what I see with these young men. Everything that I saw in recruiting is the same thing I see here as when they're on campus. So it's been great, and then to see the maturation process between some of the other guys, Fred Davis, Malcolm Green, Nathaniel Wiggins, is great, because that's what you want. You don't want some kids to come in and stay stagnant. You want kids to come in and you want them to put the work in, because one thing I'll say, our society has got to the point where a lot of our young people are entitled, and they've lost sight on the true ethic of work. And with work comes success and comes failure. And then the fact that is, do you learn from the failure? And that's what I can truly say these young men are partaking in.
You got to get your mind right, get your makeup in your mind ready to go. So, that's where I start. I want that mentality when we take the field, effort and hustle and pursuit. Every time we practice, I want to see that. I want to see you run into the ball. And when that becomes a habit, it shows up in the biggest moments. If you just preach it right before you go out on the game, it ain't gonna happen.
Spring practice was a lot of fun. I think our guys picked up on the fact that, we as a staff came together leading up to spring practice, and we said, okay, who are we gonna be? Yes, don't try to fix what's not broken, but where do we need to improve? What in our offense do we need to eliminate? And so I think there's excitement for us because we've all been able to collaborate, and Coach Streeter is very collaborative. He wants us to have input as a staff. Man, it's fun because we're able to craft what do we want, and then be able to stand on the table and say, hey guys, here's what we're going to do. Let's go be great at it. And if we have cohesion and chemistry and we have joy in the doing, they will have the same. And so we've seen that already. And then from here, man, just continue to work and grind and try to be our best day in and day out. And it'll show up on Saturdays in the fall.
It's been great being here at Clemson and being a part of this and being a part of 2 national championships and being a part of all these conference championships that we've been winning and this success. But even more, just the impact that we're having on these young people and the impact they're having on me. I learn from them as much as they do from me. So it's been a real good blessing for us.